So I've been using the version 1 for about the last 3 years. I use it on my bike when I go out on that. I have like a chin mount, so I use the camera for that. It does a great job. It's not equivalent to a GoPro or DJI Osmo Action, nowhere near it, but it's a budget camera. It's a fraction of the cost of those. Stabilization is okay. You can't do extreme sports with it, but walking, it does the job. Running, you know, you will see it jerk around a bit. So the only thing which let it down on the version 1 for me was the internal mic. I'll talk about what I did later on in the video. Did a hack, as you can see here. I've got a video for that. And on the version 2, they have now sorted that mic. It's now usable, so that's great. So these do 4K 30. So if you have a look, I'll show you the resolution up to 4K 30, 2.7K 30 frames per second, 2K 60 frames per second, 2K 30 frames per second, 1080p 90 frames, 1080p 60 frames, 1080p 30 frames, 720p 120 frames per second, 720p 60 frames, and 720p 30 frames. So yeah, we still got up to 4K 30 frames per second. Pretty much the same. Looking at it. So if we go to camera, our resolution is 20 meg. Our resolution is 20 meg, the same. The user interface, you can see the icons have changed. Okay, so this is the power up times. If I put them both on at the same time, see version 2 is much faster to boot up. So you have zoom buttons on the side buttons on this one, 4x digital zoom. On this one you have it on the screen. So if we go into settings on both, see the layout has changed. So we've got resolution, image stabilization. On the version 1 you also have gyroscope. On here it's just either on or off, so when you select it, it goes back to the menu. See a lot of grayed out options there. That's because you've accessed them in a different way. Back to the version 2 and the way it works. So on the settings for video, you've got your slow motion, still photo, time lapse and everything there. And if we look at this, you can see they're grayed out. So to access them, you can tap on the screen on normal there and get them this way. Photo settings there, or you can quickly press the power button at the front, tap on that and get them that way. So the layout has changed quite a bit. So if we go to settings, a lot of those ones on version 1 will be on settings. So angle, sounds, if we go to sounds, you can turn off the shutter, boot up and beep noise here, and set your volume like so. As we go back, so in angle we've got from 70 degrees up to 170. Here we have medium, wide and super wide. So super wide is obviously a better field of view than 170. So we go back to the menu. We have white balance, color and sharpness. So sharpness we don't have on this one. So that's your color settings. Wide dynamic range is on. So we have it there. Just toggle it on and off on the version 1. Auto power off. Put your upside down. So auto power off is set to 3 minutes on both of these. Date and time. You've got your date and time, date and stamp, so I normally have them off. Power frequency. If I go to about, you'll see that's my version 1. That's my version 2, shows you the firmware. The lens on the version 2 has changed also. If I move it around, you can see there's a change of the lens, and for me it does seem to let more light in. You see that in the comparison. So the biggest difference I've noticed is on the version 2 you can now use the internal mic. On the version 1 I had to do a hack, so I've got a video for that if you're interested. A mic hack, so you can use all your aftermarket microphones, improve the sound quality. I did it this way so I can still put it into a waterproof case and use the mic when you've got the slots in the back of the case, and you can also have the mic on and still charge the camera. Use a power bank. So on the version 2 camera you have super wide, which is what you're seeing now, compared to the version 1, which is just wide angle. So you can see the difference. So this is walking with the stabilization on. This is running with the stabilization on. Okay, so my conclusion on both of these cameras, they both do a good job still, even at 2025. Stability wise, recording, they're rock solid normally. Never had an issue with the version 1, I've used it for 3 years. The version 2 I've only just had it a couple of weeks. So the main difference now is I can use the internal mic on the version 2. It works fine now, no problem with the sound level, it's not too low. The version 2 has more vibrant colours. Version 1 is more natural looking, I guess you'd say. Sometimes people prefer the more saturated look over the natural look. The version 2 lets in a lot more light on the aperture. You can see that for sure on the overcast days I filmed. So yeah, you can pick these cameras up at a good price now, and there's plenty on the market. And they do the job, you know, compared to a GoPro. These don't overheat. I've used them in the summertime, you know, 2-3 hours at a time, never shut off on me or frozen. They're not as high level as the DJI Osmo Action and the GoPros, so they don't heat up as much, you know, the chipset. So the chipset is said to be different on these two. They've changed it over. Version 2 boots up a lot faster, so you think the chipset would be faster, basically perform, you know, a lot better on the processing. I think stability wise there's not a great deal in it, but looking at it, version 1 still got it. I mean, I'll look at this footage today and compare it, but for me the version 1 is just that little bit better. I don't know if it's because it's got the gyroscope setting on it and that does affect it, possibly.